Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Infinite Purpose and Truth, where I'm your host, Anastasia Wyndham. Welcome back to another great episode. How has your week been going? How you guys been going out there? Have you guys had a great week? I know I've had a great week, you guys. I'm so grateful for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode, which was our introductory to season 3, Behind the Mask. You guys, listen. I hope after you listened to that episode that you felt light as a feather. I hope that the weight that you have been carrying, I hope that it fell off. I hope that you have the courage and the strength to know that you are not alone. And even if you have to wear a mask, you're not alone, that God is able to see you through. He's able to carry you through what feels like the darkest moment of your life. Guess what? We all have them. We all have had them at some point, are having them, or at some point will have a dark moment. But you got to know that God has the ability to see you through. So I hope that it bless your soul. I hope that this week's episode blesses your soul as well. And I pray that even more weight is lifted off of you, knowing that God is ever so present and He's able to not only see you through, but carry you through. So, this week's episode is entitled Growing Stronger in God. And we're going to talk about why a relationship with God is so important. It's so important, especially now when you don't really know the uncertainty of anything. Everything's uncertain. Even when it feels like you finally have caught a grip or you're catching a grasp of everything and things seem to be leveling out, there's always something else transpiring that seems to kind of keep you on edge. You know, it's almost like you can never just get too comfortable. There's always something transpiring that gives you a reason to pray, gives you a reason to stay close to God, gives you a reason to stay connected with God, because it is through God that God provides that godly strength and gives you the ability to get through what most people never will. I would like to say this. Having a personal relationship with God is so important because I've been saved since I was 24 years old. And I've learned and experienced a lot over the last almost 2 decades. I'm 39 now. I'll be 40 this year. So I've lived through and experienced quite a bit. And the reality is, you see so many who truly want a connection with God, and they want to connect with God on a very intimate, deeper level. And a lot of them don't know how. Some have connected with God and were really, really in a place where God was truly ministering to them, and life happened. Guess what, you guys? You're not alone. Life happens to a lot of us. There are some moments in your life that you may not feel like praying. There's going to come some moments in your life where you may not feel like you're the strongest. So if you were once truly connected with God and you felt like you were in the presence of God like you had never been before and you don't feel it like you used to, I want you to know there's hope. You can get back where you were. All you have to do is just pray, talk to God, read your Bible, spend intimate time with God outside of others where it's just you and God. See, the beautiful thing about a relationship with God is a direct, intimate connection. It's a relationship where your heart not only pours out to God, but God pours back into you. He pours wisdom, love, guidance, and correction. The thing I love the most is God pours correction, because there are some things that we'll do and your best friend may not tell you that it's wrong. Or Your coworker may not tell you that it's wrong, but God gives you the innate ability to know that what you're doing is not right. And He'll stop you dead in your tracks, minister to your heart, and make you turn it around. You see, it's the same thing as receiving that guidance. A lot of people are searching for their purpose on this earth. Truth be told, you're more than someone's mother, someone's father, someone's best friend, someone's brother or sister. You're more than just who you are. There's so much more to you. If you are made in the image and likeness of God, there's so much more to you. God has depth to Him. There's so much to Him. If you're made in the image and likeness of God, there's so much more to your story that's not been told. There's so much more to the gift that's within you that you yet to discover. But there's only one way to truly discover this, and that is through God. See, anything that is God given, God gives the instruction of how to truly operate and maneuver in that gift, how to truly flow in that gift. You can receive guidance from others who share the same gift, but there's nothing like God giving you the wisdom and the guidance how to flow and operate in your gift. Because although we can share the same gift, we're not alike. Although there may be similarities, we're two different people. So therefore, we serve the same God, but God may have something different that He wants to utilize you for. Otherwise, He may not utilize me for it. And there may be some areas that God has gifted and equipped me to flow through that otherwise He may have not done the same for you. You see, the beauty of being connected with God, God knows you. He knows the spirit, the heart. He knows everything, even the things that you don't want anybody else to know. God knows them. So therefore, when you have a divine connection with God and a true relationship with God, God's able to give you the guidance to work through these things, not just get through them, but get rid of them. There's some things that we have inside of us that we don't just need to live through these moments. We need to detach ourselves. God needs to cut them away, or we need to get rid of them. It's just like growing in a garden. When you go to church on a Sunday morning, the pastor is like the farmer. We'll just call him a farmer. He's there to cultivate, to spread the word, which is the nourishment, to give guidance as far as how to operate and maneuver on a God-given level. Everyone in the house receives the same amount of instructions. Everyone in the house receives the same level of nourishment. Therefore, everyone is expected to grow, but not everyone grows on the same level. Some grow faster than others. Some do not grow as fast as others. Some grow in different climates. Some die out because they may not be getting what they spiritually need, because they might have needed something a little more intimate. There's nothing wrong with being with the collective, because guess what? We're supposed to assemble ourselves around those who are like-minded. We're supposed to assemble ourselves around those who share the same belief. This is your community. This is where people are going to love on you, accept you for who you are, share infinite testimonies. They're not going to think you're crazy, because you know what? We serve the same God. I know that God is able to do all things but fail. They're able to share, to encourage, to pray, to empower, to push. This is the beauty of being assembled with like-minded believers. But this does not substitute a relationship with God, because you can be in the midst of your growing season. And when you look around, the weeds and the ones growing may overcrowd the ones who are not. They may need a little extra push. There may be some things about them that God has to cut away, the reason they're not growing. There may be some things and people that they are attached to that they need to cut away, which is why they're not seeing that growth. Sometimes God has to prune us, and it hurts. Sometimes you just have to give God full liberty to just go ahead and cut away everything that is causing you not to see that level of growth that you know that God has purpose for your life. There's some things and some bad habits that you know is the reason you're not seeing the growth, whether you're a procrastinator, whether you're not consistent, whether you set goals and you don't actually execute, whether you start out spending time with God and somewhere along the way you drift away, whether you go to bed at night and it used to be your time where you would spend intimate time communicating with God and you find yourself drifting away. See, these are all things that sometimes we have to ask God to cut away from us. Whatever is a huge distraction that keeps us from being in that level of intimacy that we need to be with God, we have to cut it away. Sometimes we have to cut off people. There's some places that you once probably was able to go that you won't be able to go anymore, because all these things are conducive for you not being able to grow. And all these things come against your relationship with God, because it takes away your time. If you ask me what is the most expensive thing and the hardest thing to get back, nobody really has a lot of it, and it costs you a lot to actually spend it, and that's time. No one has a lot of time to spend. I've always heard time is money, but it is inevitable that time is a consistent thing that is continuously going. And no one knows the amount of time that God has given them on the face of this earth. So therefore, you have to make good use of your time. And anything that robs you from the connection that you have with God, that keeps you from getting that godly counsel, that godly instruction, that godly guidance, whatever it's going to take to make sure that you operate at your maximum capabilities of what you know God has put inside of you, you got to cut it off and get rid of it. Because at some point in life, you're going to be challenged. But when you have been prepared, when you have the knowledge and the wisdom, and when God has instilled the strength that you need before the obstacle forms, before it gets there, we know God has the ability to remove every mountain. We know God has the ability to remove every obstacle. He's God. But there's some things that God allows to form in order to strip things away from you, in order to shift and change things inside of you, in order to cut away from things and people. Because if you really want to see a person for who they really are, all you got to do is go through something. When you are in need, you'll soon find that the people that you provided for will not be able to provide for you. You'll soon find that the people that you encouraged and motivated and pushed along the way will be nowhere to be found to even know if you need encouragement. They won't even think twice about you. You will soon find that the people that you sacrifice time to be there for, they wouldn't think twice about sacrificing time for you. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some God-given people who are on a God-given assignment that God has assigned for you. But as long as you keep the people around that are keeping you stuck, that are not allowing you to come up to that place, that level in God that you know that you're supposed to be, you won't get to where they are. You see, as I did research, and I love reading the Bible, I found that we have it so made because God is omnipresent. We're able to meet God anywhere. We can meet God right here online. We can meet God in the presence of our home, our car, our job, wherever. You can open your mouth and pray, and God is there. But in the biblical times, they went through great challenges, great strengths just to feel that closeness with God, going to the mountaintops just to feel the closeness with God. We don't have to go through such great lengths. And sometimes that's a bad thing because we become so comfortable. Wouldn't you hate it if the only time you heard from someone was when they needed something? Or the only time you heard from someone was when they were going through? Wouldn't that just get under your skin? Because that's pretty much the same thing that we do to God. We've got to become more grateful and remain in a state of gratitude in spite of, even when things are not going the way that they should be going. We have to remain in a state of pure gratitude, telling God thank you for the infinite things that he's done throughout the years. I've been doing this since I was 24 years old, but I have been encouraging and uplifting others since I was in high school, middle school, probably preschool. A long time, y'all. I have been who I am for so long. And I have seen and experienced so much. And the thing that I've noticed the most is who you are. God will give you not only the strength to overcome things, but there will be some people along the way that will try their best. Their assignment is to choke the very word out of you. Their assignment is to block the gift that's on the inside of you. But when you allow God to stand up in you, when you allow God to be in the forefront of you, there's nothing you won't do that will not be glorifying to God. I have seen so many people want that closeness with God, and they come in and they serve and they leave. And a lot of them say, well, I can't do it. Or they may have experienced things that hurt them that transpired along the way because of an individual. Not because of God, because of an individual. Howbeit, the breath in your body, the ability to move your hands and do for yourself the things we take for granted. Even when we don't open our mouth and tell God thank you, you still are able to have your right mind, breath in your body, the ability to keep going, still provides, still protects, still covers, still goes endless leaps and bounds in a spiritual realm to make sure that you are well and able and capable. God still move mountains and make ways, not for you, just for your children, for your family. And we too busy sometimes to say thank you. Having a relationship with God is a continuous thing. It's not something that you want to establish just because you're in your lowest moment. Because what I found is in your lowest moment, you'll be challenged. Every story that I've witnessed and I've read and I've discovered, some of the greatest people, they were faced with adversity before their true calling and their true purpose began. If you think of Jesus in the wilderness, he had been in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights before he came hungered. And when he became hungry, that's when he was attacked. After he fulfilled the assignment, utilizing what was in him, standing on the authority and the power that was already within him, the enemy fled and he was able to start his journey, fulfilling his purpose. Elijah by the brook, same scenario. It wasn't until the brook dried up that he was able to start his journey, fulfilling his purpose. You got to know that God is going to allow some things to happen. Opposition comes. It doesn't come all the time to destroy you. That's the first thing that we think of, is that someone is coming against us, and, I call it spiritual anxiety. Thinking that someone is always against you. But there are some things that God allows to work for you in your favor, because otherwise you would never move. Otherwise, you would never cut away from things that need to be cut away in your life. That friend that stabbed you in the back was supposed to. That relationship that didn't work, it wasn't supposed to. The job that you felt that you lost, that was promised to you, you were supposed to leave it. You were supposed to lose it. Because God had something greater. Maybe he was calling you into entrepreneurship. Maybe he was calling you into the intimacy hour with him, where you had replaced time with God with people. Because there's nothing that you can't even be a parent in today's time without God. I told my mother, I feel like the hardest job that I've ever been given, that I prayed for. I had a hard time having children. I prayed desperately to be a mother. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't regret it, because I love my babies. They are my all in all, y'all. Now, but I did not know it was so challenging, and that you have to pour so much into them, and that this would be probably one of the hardest jobs that I would ever sign up for. Because it's more than just buying clothes, providing a roof over their head, giving them food. Just like you need to be spiritually fed, just like you need to be uplifted, just like you need to be encouraged, just like you need to have a connection and relationship with God, so does your children. Because there will be some moments that your children are going through some things and they may never come to you. There may be some adversity that they face later in life, and they may never come to you. As I was preparing the show, I pulled up some statistics, and I'm only going to read one of them. And it says that 70 to 88% of young adults leave the church while in college. And a lot of them don't return. I won't go too deep into it. I have a lot of statistics, but I will not share them all. It's going to come a point in your life that you're going to need a relationship with God. It's going to come a point in your child's life that they're going to need a relationship with God. The same way God directs you and guides you to good things, He directs you and guides you when there's danger near. And let me tell you something. If you ever thought that you could make it in life on your own strength, you are sadly mistaken. If you ever thought that you could obtain anything without God, I want you to know that that is an illusion, and that whatever you obtain without God, it won't last. These are the things that I teach my babies. Because when I read that, I thought that was quite alarming. And it is very evident and very true. And I went back and I thought about how it felt to be taught to serve and to worship God, but you not have a relationship with God. This is why I encourage and push my children to have a relationship with God. Because even if it came a time that you couldn't get to the building, to the church, to the house of God, if you couldn't get there, there still needs to be a relationship between you and God. That's why you can't judge a book by its cover. Who's to say someone who suffers with alcohol addiction, drug addiction, who's to say that they don't have a relationship with God just because they have a sickness that they deal with? Who's to say that they don't pray and talk to God because they want to be delivered? Who's to say the person that you feel may have turned their backs and walked away from God don't have a relationship with God? You can never judge a book by its cover, because the beautiful thing about a relationship, that relationship is strictly between God and that individual. It's not between me, you, anybody. It is only two spirits that are connected. And that's between you and God. What you share with God, nobody will ever know. How God uplifts you and encourages you, nobody will never know. But guess what? They'll see it. So that's a beautiful thing about it. When you've been with God and you spend time with God and you have that intimate one-on-one time with God, everybody's going to know that you've been with God, because there is a change that will come over you. Things that you used to do, you wouldn't do it no more. Places you used to want to go, you won't go no more, because God is going to bring a change. You can hang with your friends, you can be with your husband, you can be with your wife, you can be around anybody. But let me tell you something. If you develop that relationship and you stay closely connected with God, everybody's going to know that you've been with God. That's a secret that you can't hold. That's something that you can't keep on the inside, because God's going to magnify and glorify Himself on the outside. I could quote a Bible scripture all day long. I could look the part, dress the part. But if I was truly not aligned with God, everyone would know that, because you're not going to see the presence of God on this individual. You're not going to feel the presence of God on this individual. When they speak, you won't even know the presence of God, because all you'll hear is vainglory. So I encourage you today to develop a relationship with God. If you have one, go deeper. How do you go deeper? Spend more time with God. Pray. Meditate on His word more. Go for walks alone. I find that's where God ministers the most. When you're alone outside, it's just you and Him, and you go for a walk. First time I've ever done it was about 2.5 weeks ago. I went for a walk in the rain. It was a slow rain where the rain just sets in. It's not heavy. I went for a walk and prayer time. me and my umbrella, and I promise you, it was the most peaceful thing. Go sit by some water. Spend time with God. If you can't get that intimacy time within your home, get outside of your home. You'll soon find that what used to bother you, it won't bother you no more. Things that you should be upset with, you won't even be upset with it no more. Because the peace of God will arrest you right where you are. You won't have to fake like you're happy. You'll be happy. You won't have to fake like you're just so endowed in God, because the presence of God is all over you. You won't have to tell anybody. A person who truly loves God, truly serves God, and truly has been with God, you don't have to tell anybody, because they're going to see the glory of God upon you. And I think that's what it's all about. It's not about what we can do. It's about the glory of God being revealed through each and every last one of our lives, so that someone else will see that glory, so that someone else will see how God is being magnified through your life, and they too will want that same relationship with God. And will soon find that they may go deeper in God, because no two relationships is alike. So I love you guys. I hope you guys have had a really amazing day today. And I hope that this has been a blessing to you. I hope it has blessed your soul. I hope that God continues to allow you to produce and grow, and grow beyond your imaginations. I pray that whatever level that you have set for your connection with God, that God exceeds all expectations. I pray that every boundary that you set between you and God be broken, and that God allows the rivers of living water to continuously flow, not only through you, but to you, to revitalize you, to bring you back, to rejuvenate you, to recharge you in areas that you may be weak in. May everybody that you come in contact with, may they feel and experience the love and the glory of God, where they too want to experience this same level of love and glory upon themselves. That they too will want a real relationship and connection with God. So I love you guys. I hope you guys have been blessed. I hope you guys have been enlightened. And we'll see you again next week. If you guys would like to drop me a prayer request, you can do so by infinitepurpose@yahoo.com. Again, that is infinitepurpose@yahoo.com. Or you can send me a message on either platform, that is on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. Until we meet again, I have enjoyed you guys. I hope you guys have been blessed with this. Stay encouraged, stay grounded, stay rooted, and know that the best is yet to come. And there's no weight that's too heavy that God cannot lift. There's nothing that you've been so entangled with that God's not able to uproot what is holding you down, and not able to bring you through. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Stay encouraged. Till we meet again.